Welcome to the 2025 Girls Lacrosse Online Rules module. My name is Jason Nickleby and I'm an Assistant Director with the League and the Director of the Officiating Program. I will be narrating the first and last portions of this module. We will now cover general girls lacrosse information before reviewing the rules changes for 2025. We will cover the points of emphasis for this year from the NFHS and the MSHSL and a few reminders before concluding this module. Prior to the start of a contest, the host school is responsible for determining whether or not the conditions present a threat to the safety of participants and spectators and will determine whether or not the contest will begin. Once the contest begins, the officials have the authority to postpone or suspend a contest due to unsafe weather conditions. That decision may not be overruled. School officials also still have this authority. On-site medical professionals should also be consulted and included in the decision-making process. The superintendent or his or her designee may overrule an official and suspend or postpone a contest once it has begun. In other words, once a contest has begun, either the officials or school authorities may overrule an official and suspend or postpone a contest once it has begun. While lightning on the horizon should warn of potential danger, lightning associated with thunder or thunder alone means that there is immediate danger to the athletes, officials, and spectators. The adage, if you hear it, clear it, should be used to make decisions to postpone or cancel the activity. When considering resumption of an athletic activity, the league recommends that everyone should wait at least 30 minutes after the last flash of lightning or sound of thunder before returning to the field or activity. After the game has been temporarily postponed, officials and coaches should communicate about next steps. Officials, please understand that you're working an outdoor sport and you may have games that will have delays. We should not look to cancel the game at the first opportunity. Conversely, coaches, officials should not be expected to stay around the site for several hours just in case you might be able to get the game in. A final reminder, when we see more lightning or hear more thunder, the 30-minute clock starts over. And no app on a phone can tell you that the 30 minutes should be shortened. That entire 30-minute period must be followed. We have added the concept of a pre-game administrative and medical timeout during the 2024-2025 school year. This meeting will take place approximately 10 minutes before the contest begins and will hopefully be led by a site administrator. The meeting will cover sportsmanship, what to do with a challenging situation such as an unruly spectator or other disruption, as well as medical emergency planning. We hope this meeting will get administrators, coaches, and officials on the same page going into their respective contest. Please note that the pre-contest timeout does not take the place of the pre-game meeting or any pre-game duties that are required of officials. It is never acceptable for a coach to be ejected from a contest. You are responsible for modeling respectful behaviors at all times. Should a coach be ejected from a contest, they are ineligible to coach for the remainder of that day as well as the next date. This suspension must be enforced whether or not the school has received an ejection report. This is a responsibility of the head coach. Head coaches, if there are ejections of yourself or another coach or player in your program, you need to notify your activities administrator. A violation of this rule results in a forfeit if a coach or player were to participate after being ejected. A second ejection in the same season results in a 4-game suspension. Ejections may not be appealed. As you can see on the slide, a coach that has been suspended after having been ejected may not have access to the locker room, be seated or spectated in an area near the bench, or ride the bus to or from the contest. Obviously, if a coach is ejected at an away contest, they can take the bus home. We're talking about what to do in subsequent games on another date. Coaches can be at a game if they have been ejected, but they need to be out of sight and sound relative to the bench, and they need to be uninvolved as it relates to game matters. Athletes have similar consequences as coaches when they are ejected from a contest. They are ineligible to play in any games scheduled for the remainder of that day and must sit out the next contest that occurs after the date of the offense. This suspension must be enforced whether or not your school has received an ejection report. The head coach is responsible for ensuring compliance with this bylaw. A violation of this rule results in a forfeit. A second ejection in the same season results in a 4-game suspension. Ejections may not be appealed. An athlete that is suspended during the regular season may travel with the team and occupy the bench area, but may not be in uniform. An athlete that is suspended during the postseason may not be in uniform, may not occupy the bench area, and may not participate in the awards ceremony or receive awards. If an athlete, or coach for that matter, is ejected, they can certainly ride the bus home if it's a away contest and so forth. But if it is a subsequent contest, especially in the postseason, they cannot be in the bench area. If athletes are ejected in a regular season game or in a postseason game, both, they should stay in the bench area with supervision of a coach. If they leave voluntarily, that is up to them and the coach, but they are not required by rule, except in hockey, to leave the bench area. In subsequent games, they need to be out of the bench area, may not be in uniform, and may not receive awards in the postseason. As a reminder, if a coach, parent, or other concerned party has an eligibility question such as chemical or behavior issues, should direct those questions to the activities director. Even if a lacrosse player is ineligible, the officials are not to rule on such matters, and all inquiries should be directed to the activities director of the school involved. Coaches should speak with their activities director or consult the bylaws for girls lacrosse in the official league handbook or go to the girls lacrosse activity page on the high school league website. Please pay special attention to the policy for playing out-of-state teams in scrimmages or games.
Hi, I'm Tim Lake, State Coordinator for MSHSL Girls Lacrosse. Welcome to the 2025 season. We will now discuss rule changes for the 2025 high school season. Rule change 4-1-2, duration of play. The clock will stop on the official's whistle after each goal and when a foul is called in the critical scoring area during the last minute of each quarter. Unless there is a 10-goal differential, then the clock will continue to run. Rule change 5-2, penalties 1 and 2, starting play with a draw. When one player draws illegally, the free position will be taken at the spot of the ball. This will improve the flow of the game by eliminating the need to bring the ball back to the center for a redraw. When both players draw illegally, a redraw will occur. Rule change minor fouls. The indirect free position for a minor foul by the defense player occurring in the 12-meter fan has been eliminated. A player who is fouled may shoot from a free position on the 12-meter fan. Rule change 10-1P and 13 definition of terms major fouls. The player's cross must be in a vertical position between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and the player's body shall be in a vertical plane with a stance no wider than shoulder width. This clarifies legal body and stick positioning for a legal and safe pick. Rule change 10-1Q1, major fouls. Illegal stick contact is expanded to include contact with the opponent's cross when the defender's cross is held in a horizontal position. This clarifies that it is illegal for a defender to contact an opponent's body or cross when the defender's cross is in a horizontal position. Rule change 10-1U2, major foul, rough and dangerous check, is expanded to include checking on the opponent's hand. This clarifies that a player's hand is part of their body and should be protected against rough and dangerous checking. We will now get into the 2025 NFHS editorial changes. Major editorial changes. Rule 3-6-1 requires the home team to have direct electronic communication with the scorer if the scorer is not seated at the scorer's table. Rule 8-1-1, note, this is new, clarifies that the team playing short due to a suspension or ejection of a player shall play short below the restraining line in both its offensive and defensive ends of the field for the entire penalty time. And Rule 10-1, penalties 13, new. It adds language to clarify that the same penalty administration for cards issued for misconduct applies to yellow and red cards for a major foul. Other editorial changes. Rule 2-2-4, the nominal diameter of the shooting string nylon cord and sidewall string nylon shall be 0.3 centimeters maximum. Rule 2-5-2E, it may be re-inspected between quarters. Rule 2-7-5A and B, A, medical alert items and religious medals and or other religious items shall be taped to the body and covered. Rule 2-7-7, note, each state association may individual participants with disabilities or unique and extenuating circumstances. Rule 2-9-4, the language has been stricken. Other editorial changes. Rule 3-5-3G, new. Remind team representatives that all team personnel shall display good sportsmanship. Rule 4-3-3B and C, the official should signal for the timeout, set up the free position. The player being awarded the ball for the free position. Rule 4-7-1, after every goal and after each quarter. Rule 4-7-5A, no more than 12 players of each team on the field. And Rule 5-4-4, from a position farther than 4 meters from the spot of the foul. So this means that if a player running down the field is fouled and loses the ball and is more than 4 meters away from where they are fouled, bring the player back to where they are fouled and a self-start may start play. Remember, players are allowed to run down the field without stopping if they are fouled and have not lost control of the ball. Continuation of other editorial changes. Rule 9-1M6, new. Take part in the game with equipment that does not comply with the rules. Rule 10-1, penalty 6. For a false start by the goalkeeper or the deputy, while in the goal circle, the goalkeeper may remain in the goal circle. And Rule 12, notes 1 and 2, new. No participant, team personnel, coach, or contest official should use any form of alcohol or tobacco or be under the influence or impaired by a controlled or illicit substance beginning with arrival at the competition site until departure following the completion of the game. Prior to the game, referees shall meet with the head coach and captains to discuss sporting conduct expectations. 2025 Rule Book corrections. Words that are underlined have been added to these rules. On page 51, 8-1, note, issuance of card or cards has been added. Page 56, 9.1, situation A, a minor foul called on the red team defender inside the 12-meter fan. Page 61, Rule 10-1, penalties 6. When a goalkeeper attempts to self-start from a free position in the goal circle, when a self-start is not an option, the free position is reset and no penalty is assessed. Repeated violations may result in a delay of game card. We will now get into the 2025 NFHS points of emphasis. Points of emphasis: use of green card, delay of game. Proper use of the green card by officials is important to discourage and penalize fouls that interrupt the flow of the game. Officials should be aware and knowledgeable of all delay of game behavior and use the green card procedure whenever the rule is violated. Ignoring the violation or repeatedly resetting the play perpetuates delay of game behavior and negatively impacts the flow of the game. The following are common examples of delay of game violations that should be penalized with the green card. Defenders failing to promptly move 4 meters away from a free position. Offenders continuing to run down the field after committing a foul in the midfield rather than taking action to move 4 meters away or behind the ball carrier, players failing to promptly clear the penalty zone, and teams failing to promptly return to the field after a timeout or time between quarters has expired. Proper delay of game procedure. Timeout is called to administer a delay of game card. The first violation is a green card shall be issued against the offending team. A change of possession takes place, if applicable, for the minor foul. Second violation, a green-yellow card shall be issued against the offending player and award the appropriate penalty for a major penalty. The offending player must leave the field and enter the penalty area for 2 minutes of elapsed playing. The team will play short below the restraining line in both its offensive and defensive ends of the field for the entire penalty time. This card is not included in the team or player's card count. Third and subsequent violation will result in a yellow card for misconduct and will be included in the team and player's card count. Points of emphasis: managing safe play in the 8-meter arc. Officials must work together to manage safe play in the 8-meter arc. Officials must recognize and penalize the following: any use of stick in an unsafe manner that jeopardizes the safety of the opponent's head and neck area, illegal contact by the defense with the cross or body in a dangerous or uncontrolled manner during or after a shot on goal, use of the stick in a horizontal position that makes contact with an opponent's body or cross, any check that contacts another player's cross, body, or hands that is rough, dangerous, or intimidating. Points of emphasis: offensive fouls inside the critical scoring area. It is important for officials to properly adjudicate the rules regarding illegal play by offensive players with the focus on offensive fouls that are not consistently called by officials. Attack players pushing and or displacing defenders by backing into them, forcing through, illegal cradling, charging into defenders after a shot, and dangerous propelling when a defender is in shooting space. Officials must work together to avoid penalizing the defender who has established and maintained legal positioning prior to the attack player initiating illegal contact. When attack player charges or forces through defenders, officials should properly enforce the rules by calling the offensive foul. Trail and lead officials need to work together to properly officiate these offensive fouls. They include illegal picks, offensive holding, dangerous follow-through, and dangerous propelling. NFHS Authentication Mark Update. Any of these markings can be used on a lacrosse ball. The next few slides will go over the Minnesota points of emphasis. Minnesota points of emphasis include illegal stick-to-body contact and carding. Minnesota point of emphasis number 1, illegal stick-to-body contact. Too many girls lacrosse players are getting hurt by horizontal sticks to the ribs, back, shoulders, and often end up on the ground. If a player is on the ground, someone on the crew should be able to recognize how they got on the ground. Card if needed. We are asking coaches to teach safe use of the cross in defensive play. Asking referees to call more illegal stick-to-body contact fouls when they occur to clean this up early in the game. Remember, the head of the stick must be between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, not 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Minnesota points of emphasis number 1 continued with illegal stick-to-body contact. According to the rule book, major foul, illegal stick-to-body contact, is a stick held in a horizontal position that makes contact with an opponent's body. Horizontal positioning is defined as the head of the stick dropping below the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock position. Officials need to continue to move to see the space between the players to call this foul when it occurs.
Every player plays defense at some point during the game, so regardless of their position, it's important for all players to learn the proper defensive stance. It's important to make sure your knees are bent and your back's up nice and straight. You want to have your stick pointing up and between 10 and 2 o'clock. Once you initiate the contact with an attacker, you want to make sure those arms stay locked. The second you bring them in and then bring them back out, that's going to be a foul and it's going to cause a turnover and be the other team's ball. Having the proper defensive stance is the foundation to becoming a great defender, and it's important for all players to learn and understand.
In the next slide, there will be a 3-minute video on the use of a horizontal stick by the defense. Play 1 will show good stick positioning by the defense, no foul, as the head of the stick is in between the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock positions. Plays 2 through 5 will show illegal use of a horizontal stick by the defense.
Right out. Yep. Thank you. Right out. Yeah. Thank you. Right out. Yep. Thank you.
Oh, you gotta take yours. Yeah, maybe I'll just go walk. Oh, you gotta take yours. Yeah, maybe I'll just go walk. Oh, you gotta take yours. Yeah, maybe I'll just go walk.
I need to call Doug up.
Oh, okay. Let me see your phone.
I need to call Doug up.
Oh.
I need to call Doug up.
Oh, okay. Let me see your phone.
Minnesota points of emphasis number 2, karting. Physical play is heightened as more players travel east and west to play lacrosse through their club programs. As we get more athletic girl lacrosse players, referees need to hustle to open positions to see rough play that leads to mandatory cards. Mandatory cards include check to the head, slash, dangerous follow through, dangerous propel, and dangerous contact. Referees should card early to clean up rough play on the field. Minnesota points of emphasis number 2 continued. Karting. View the following video for a continued emphasis on keeping it safe for everybody on the field by karting. Referees should be very proactive to give cards out early and not let play get out of control.
Rough and dangerous play. Minimizing the risk of the student athlete is a priority of the USA Lacrosse Girls Lacrosse Rules Committee. With the introduction of free movement, the displacement of players due to rough and dangerous play needs to be effectively managed and eliminated. Disruptive actions jeopardize the safety of players, impedes the flow of the game, and negatively affects the integrity of the sport. Rough and dangerous play consists of forceful contact of players with the body or the crosse, reckless, dangerous, or intimidating checks within playing distance of the opposing player, and any other action with the body or crosse that an official deems unsafe. Managing dangerous and rough play in the midfield will consistently be a focus. This year, the Rules Committee intends to bring more attention to recognizing these fouls as they continue into the critical scoring area by encouraging officials to apply the appropriate rules and utilize the card administration discouraging rough and dangerous play from continuing. Consistent officiating of repetitive fouling decreases the risk of injury, improves game management, and upholds the integrity of the game.
Hi, this is Jason. I'm back once again to quickly cover a few administrative reminders before concluding this module. In addition to the app, the NFHS also has the NFHS Learning Center at nfhslearn.com with more than 90 online courses for professional development. These courses are available for everyone within the interscholastic community, including coaches, students, officials, parents, and administrators. More than 60 of these courses are available for free. Again, go to nfhslearn.com to learn more about these courses and to register your account. Over 21 million courses have been delivered on the NFHS Learn platform. Again, many of these courses are free, and they are very important for coaches and officials and others in the interscholastic community to view. Concussion in sports, heat illness prevention, sudden cardiac arrest, and implicit bias are among the many courses that are available on the platform. Again, go to nfhslearn.com to learn more about these courses and to register your account.